Good morning. I'd like to call the special meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. It's Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. It is now 8:33. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask Selectman McKelney to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gary.
And Joe,
Yeah.
this is only a special meeting because we moved our regular meeting, because enough of us couldn't make it.
Good point, yeah, including the first selectman, so. Okay, before we go on to item 2, which is public forum, I have requests to add to the agenda purchase request from the fire department. I'd like to add that to 8.4. Do I have a motion, please?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, that's added to the agenda on the 8.4. All right. Okay, we're moving back to the agenda. Item 2, public forum, limited to 3 minutes on any agenda item. Anybody wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move along. Item 3, approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. 3.1 is the June 21st, 2017 special meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained because I was not present.
Okay, that's Sally, 3 affirmative and 1 abstention for the minutes of June 21st, which is a special meeting. Okay. Second set we have was for a special meeting again of July 5th, 2017. 3.2, do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any additions or corrections?
One correction.
All right, Gary?
On
Yep.
6-4, I actually voted no with the comment that I have no objection to the candidate, but it pushed an experienced member off the commission with only 2 experienced members. So, but I did vote no.
Okay, any other corrections? Call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Okay, 3 affirmative and 1 abstention, as corrected, Sally. Okay, thank you. Okay,
Hello, Mary Jane.
item 4, Finance Director, Mary Jane Malaves. First, 4.1, receive the monthly report. Good morning, Mary Jane.
Good morning.
Okay, let's go to our monthly reports. Start with the revenue first? or whatever?
So I just start off by saying that the reports you have are preliminary reports for June. As you're well aware, we'll be processing revenues and expenditures for the last fiscal year through the beginning of August. So I will be presenting a final report next month so that you have better numbers. At the moment, we're currently showing about a $900,000 surplus at the end of the year, mostly made up of additional revenues. More than half of that is additional revenues that we've received, which we'll look at when we look at the reports. Of course, that number will fluctuate. As I said, we have more items to be working with this time, especially Board of Ed. There's a lot of Board of Ed adjustments that were not posted by the time these reports were done, so that number will obviously be changing. On the revenue side, as I said, a significant amount of the surplus can be seen here. This report shows about $560,000 more than we budgeted. For almost $450,000 of that is in tax collection revenues that have been brought in more than we budgeted. The police and the fire, which we've been speaking of for a few months, have caught up and have met their met their expected revenues for the year. And as I said, there may even be some more coming in as we speak. Park and Rec is the only budget line that has not brought in all of their revenue this year. And I did a comparative analysis of that over year, and it appears that they haven't met their revenue, and I think it's one of the lines we really have to look at when we budget for next year. They're budgeting 100% revenue if everything was done, and I think that's not quite realistic, and that's why you're seeing, that they're not meeting that revenue figure. So it's a number I'd like to look at closer when we budget again next year. But other than that, if there's any other questions on revenue?
Are the taxes, back tax collections or
Yes.
no? So we wouldn't get any prepayments?
We would, but you wouldn't
Wouldn't this year.
you wouldn't be recorded here.
Okay, those are screened.
Correct. Yes,
'Cause with the,
yes.
And we never budget taxes at 100%.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what that is, back taxes, so.
Good.
All right.
Okay. Any questions on revenue? Okay, going to move on to expense?
On the expense side, here we're showing 99% expended on the town side as of when this report was completed. We are still working to reduce the purchase orders, specifically in the engineering and public works line, since their budget does show over budget, but it's mainly because of purchase orders that we have yet to finally close out. Like I did mention, the Board of Ed, we do have a number of adjustments to make there, so the number that we're showing for the Board of Ed with $3.3 million left at this point obviously will not be where we stand a month from now. So unless there's any specific questions on expenditures.
All right. A couple of comments I'd like to make is, first of all, helping the surplus, and this is no knock, is that a couple of things. We had a mild winter, so we were lucky in that regard. And that helped with particularly the public works and the park and rec maintainers, because those are the guys that help remove the snow and clear the streets and the parking lots and the sidewalks that we own. So that was a great help to us in that regard. The second thing, if you look at the police department budget, our police department is still undermanned by a couple of officers, so we've saved on the salary line, even though the replacement salary line was over. But in total, the police department, if you look at their account right now, is about $158,000 under budget, but most of that is because of salaries. And I just met last week 3 recruits that are entering the police academy to fill up the ranks of the police department. So again, that helped the surplus. It wasn't that we over budgeted, believe me. It's because that we were fortunate in having a very good winter, which I'm always happy about, as you know. A couple of reasons. I hate winter. Number one, it helps our budget. And number two, the police department was undermanned, and we had a couple of retirements this year too. So when you have a couple of retirements, the higher paid officers leave, obviously, because they're senior officers, and you replace them. When you do replace them, you replace them with officers at a lower paid salary, and that helps your budget. And last but not least, when we had a reduction from the state of $171,000 in revenue, I did put on a freeze in mid-year, as you can remember, which we'll talk about later about this year. And the department heads were very, very good in adhering to the freeze, number one, because we didn't know what we were going to face going through the winter. And luckily, like I said before, we were fortunate in having a good winter season. But to that end, the departments, as always, the department heads have always manage their budgets very, very well. And kudos to them. And I think they deserve a lot of credit for us having this surplus. We don't know where, well, we have an idea where we're going to wind up when we get the final report, unaudited, may I say. But the department has, in my tenure here, have been very, very cooperative in operating their budget. So that's where we are today because of them. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Mary Jane?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Okay. Any questions on the expense side? Want to move to insurance then? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
Pull that out. It's hiding. So this is our final report for the year. As you can see at the bottom of the page, that our projected net fund balance at June 30 is approximately $2.5 million. I just want to note that the incurred but not reported figure will be updated in August. So I am hoping to have a final June 30 report with that updated figure to have a more accurate fund balance reported for June 30, 17. A couple things to note up in the expenditures. I did add a line item for the affordable health care tax. It's only $2,500, but it is something that we have to pay for a number of years. I think we have about 3 or 4 more years left to pay that under the Affordable Care Act, but who knows what will happen with that. But at the moment, I did put that as a separate line item under administrative fees, but called that out because it's not actually a fee for the services. It's a tax that we have to pay, which shows the difference between our budgeted and our projection, which that was not included in the projection for this year. Under the revenue, we did have a surplus of about $45,000 in revenue, mainly due to census changes within the people that we have on the plan. So, when you have a family, for instance, go off the plan and take the waiver, it's changes the amount that we receive. So that's where that $45,000 comes from.
Questions?
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions for the finance director in regard to the June financial reports?
The only comment I'll make, since it's in the package, is that, and I realize our new pro it's at the start of the season, but the golf course statement of operations does not look optimistic.
No, it doesn't. I'll agree with you there.
I think we've got to
Yep.
take a look at that.
All right. No comment there. I agree with Gary.
I mean, and again, it's the short part of the season through
Yeah.
June, but when the loss exceeds greens fees, it means we're subsidizing greens fees, essentially 100%.
Yeah.
So, and I've said before that, it's a service for some of our citizens, and we subsidize other services, but it's getting high.
I'll only note that as of July 1, the golf course did become part of the general fund, so their budget will be looked at differently.
We can still look at it.
Well,
Oh, you look at it like every department.
yeah, like every other department. Yeah,
That's the reason we put it there.
so
Well, I think we have to give
overages
the
will
guy
need
a
to be.
chance, right?
Yes, I know.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm
and
not
I said
disagreeing
that.
with what you're saying.
I said
What
that,
you're
we gotta
saying.
give it a chance,
Yeah.
it doesn't look optimistic.
No,
at this
I know,
point.
for the first year, yeah.
Okay.
So I agree.
Any other comments, questions for the finance director regarding the June reports? And again, that's a draft of the June report. Next month, we'll have a final June report, unaudited. Good, thank you. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna do my agenda. We'll go on to the next 4.2, discuss and take possible action on a contract with Rico USA, state contract 15 PSX 0086 for the first floor of the town hall scanning project.
What we're looking for today is a waiver of the bid process, since this project is under state contract. It is in our capital plan for the current year. The original budget was based on Rico's presentation to us a year ago, and they are under state contract. We did look at a couple other companies just for comparison's sake. As you can see, for this particular part of the project, Rico's numbers on state contract are considerably lower. And so we are requesting a bid waiver. I'll just say that this is the first part of this project. Through our budget process, we did break the whole project is about $125,000. We did break it up between this coming fiscal year and next. This is work that's going to be done specifically at Town Hall South.
Okay.
Can I ask, so what happens with the stuff that you scan? Do you discard it? Do you have to retain it?
It would be just, we have to treat it in the same way we would any other documents for the town. We'd have to go by the library guidelines,
Yeah.
retention policy. There's no change, other than it's available not only to Town Hall employees at Town South, it will be available to the public online with a special terminal at Town Hall South. So accessibility to the documentation will be greater, and we will be able to dispose of, store, or whatever the documents that are taking up too much room over in the building.
And we're confident that Rico knows what's involved. I always worry when one bid is 3 times the other bid.
It's mainly because of state contract, but yes, yes.
But they can do that based on volume, or?
Correct. The estimate is based on an estimate of our volume. They take how many filing cabinets and boxes we have, and they come up with volume, and they multiply that by, whatever their formula is, and that's how that is done. Rico actually was here and looked at it, where the other ones kind of did it based on estimates of what
Okay.
they were given.
Okay.
So may not be apples to apples exact, but that discrepancy between, really shows the.
But it gives
the
you a
difference.
higher level of confidence that they know what they're getting into.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's fine.
And we are working on their contract. There were a number of suggestions made by the legal department, so we are working with Rico on amendments to the contract, so that is not ready at this point, but we just want to move forward at least with the bidding waiver.
Pam's, anything you want to add to that?
No, just-
Okay, all right. Now, what I will add is that part of the freeze that I instituted under this current fiscal year, which you all got copies of, which is the 2018 fiscal year, due to the state's inability to produce a budget. I don't know what they go up there for. It's now July 25th, and they met last night to approve, the House did, to approve the state employees contract, and that's all they did. Senate is going to meet next week to do the same. Supposedly, they'll approve it. But we still haven't got a state budget, so we don't know where Guilford would stand at the moment as far as any municipal funding or any additional expenses we'll have to incur on their new state budget. So for the general public, I'll give a little bit of background, is what I put out to all our departments is a spending freeze under our new budget, which was approved in April, to freeze all capital spending, all overtime, except for emergency services, and supplies, and unnecessary travel. And this all excludes emergency services, of course. So this here would come under capital.
It was already in the
Expenditures.
works by the time, so, right.
So what I would recommend to this board is that we approve, if they so are inclined to, approve the bid, but to hold the contract and not go forward with the expenditure at this time.
That's fine. And then
Until-
if it's lifted, then we can move forward.
Right, until we know where the state comes down with municipal financing and whatever else that state budget embarks about Guilford. So that might be in a couple of months from now. I've talked to Mary Jane about this, and
It's
she's
fine.
okay with it.
It's absolutely fine. Mhm.
Okay, so,
We had already gotten this far, so we're just finalizing it today.
so that's where we are. Okay, all right.
I would move that we waive the bidding and approve the bid from Rico for $74,000 and change under the state contract for scanning in the Town Hall South, subject to review by legal and subject to budget conditions.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Did you have one more item under your,
I do. This is the final resolution for our bonding projects that were approved for this year. This actually allows us to go out and get the money. So it gives the first selectman and the finance director the authority to seek out funding. So this is the last piece of the puzzle for those projects.
This total, 6.910 million. Will they be all at the same duration, or will each be subject to conditions of the whatever's being purchased or whatever's being funded?
Right, we will be looking for short-term financing this year for a very small amount out of this. The $288,000 for town facilities improvement is being sought for, and one of the vehicles is being purchased. For instance, the $1 million that we have for the rescue truck, even if we were to start the process now, it's certainly not funds we would
Right.
we would need in this year. So out of the funding that we're seeking this year, very small amount is from these projects. But this resolution would allow us to do so. It's more of a cash flow issue. When we think we're going to have the money, that's when the bonds are going out.
So you'd be going all for notes in all cases, or would some of this go long-term?
Some of them will eventually go long-term.
Eventually.
Correct.
Eventually.
Okay.
That
That was
Eventually.
my question.
I'm sorry.
not now?
I'm sorry.
That
No,
was my question, okay. All right.
I think there's less than $1 million out of all of this that we're seeking funding for this year.
Okay. I would move that we approve the resolution for the various, for the 5 items of funding as listed in the resolution.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you, Mary Jane.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 5, Board of Education Director of Operation and Facilities, Cliff Gernon. 5.1, discuss and take possible action on a contract with Kitteridge Food Service, equipment for installation of a new walk-in freezer on loading dock at Melissa Jones Elementary School. Good morning, Cliff.
Good morning. Thank you. So, over the last year, we've lost several of our reach-in refrigerator freezer units up at that school. It's presently the only school that does not have a walk-in freezer unit. So we've had a bunch of reach-ins. The problem with those is they're all in the kitchen, and they're not in a well-ventilated space, so the heat and everything shortens their lifespan. So we're trying to put a new unit which really can house everything outside under an overhang. and put the equipment where it won't take the beating of the heat. So we went out and were able to secure 3 proposals for the new walk-in unit. The lowest bidder was actually Connecticut Restaurant. They were not willing to give us any really extended warranty with the project, so the Standing Building Committee felt that it probably wasn't worth awarding to them without having that. So that went down to our last 2 vendors. One was Trimark, the other was Kittredge. Trimark does not build custom boxes. They do a standard size, so they only have a standard rectangle or square box. Unfortunately, the area we're putting this in, there are little jogs and stuff, and to utilize and get the largest space possible, we really need a custom box, and they weren't able to provide that. So we were not able to go with them. So that left us with a bid with Kittredge. Food Service Supply, we had two different bids from them. One was similar to, was a smaller box, less custom, and the other one was slightly larger, which was about 55 cubic. So that was the one that Standing Building Committee agreed to go with in the amount of $16,777.88. So we're looking to have the committee approve that proposal and award the project or that work to Kittredge Food Service Equipment.
That's good, Gary.
That's fine. I would move that we go with the Kittredge 408 cubic foot. I actually calculated the cubic feet. You just gave me square feet.
Yeah.
Cubic feet in the amount of 16,777.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, but I do have a question. You're proposing to use the funds out of balance of a appropriation from bonding.
Correct, yes, for kitchen equipment.
Okay, I have to be honest with you. I have a problem with that. And I did check with bond counsel. You can use it, but
Correct.
put this on a credit card for $16,000.
If
I do have a
right.
problem with it,
If-
okay?
well, the good news-
I don't know why
Right.
the Board of Ed can't pay for this out of their operating budget.
Yeah.
I
guess I'll give you 2 things.
You can give
One,
it
it
to
was
me.
unexpected because this piece of equipment died at the end of the year after our budget has already been put in. And then the second item is it is a piece of equipment that should last well over 20 years. So it's within kind of our normal expected bond piece. It's not a huge expense, but I understand where you're coming
We're
from, and
gonna
I could
pay-
talk to the board with that.
We're gonna be paying interest on it though,
Yeah,
for 20 years,
Yeah.
on a $16,000 purchase.
sure.
I can't go for it. The Board of Ed, and I'm not directing this at you, I'm directing it to the Board of Ed, has a $60 million plus budget. You can't find $16,000 in there?
As your budget is tight this year, I would highly suspect that the Board of Ed's budget is just as tight, but I cannot speak for them.
I know you can't, and I apologize,
So-
but for saying this to you, but you're here, they're not.
Right.
Okay.
If I had known ahead of time, I would gladly have gone back and discussed this
Okay.
with
So
them
do you want to
further.
table it, Joe?
The only
Let me
issue
do-
with,
I would move that we approve the purchase of the freezer because it's
Yeah.
required, and let the first selectman negotiate with either the superintendent or the superintendent and the chairman of the Board of Ed as to how it should be paid.
Second.
Can I ask you a side issue? How do you secure it outside from like vandalism?
well, the box itself is facing into the building, and the entrance exit point is actually right from inside the building into the box. So from the backside, there's no entrance to the box.
It's like an addition to
Correct.
the building,
I see.
okay?
Right, it's actually just, we're putting it right on the loading dock and backing it up to the doors and customing it in there so that, yes.
Got it.
There's no entrance.
It's like you walk right into the freezer from, I've seen them like that, yeah.
Yep.
All right, so is that an amendment to your motion?
That was amendment to my previous motion, basically to
And I'll
give you
update
the
my
authority
second.
to negotiate with the Board of Ed as to how it gets paid.
That I'll vote for.
And I'll update my second.
Okay. Okay, then I'll call the question on the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, amendment passes. Now I'll call the main question.
Let us know how you do.
Okay, you'll know. Okay, so now we have the main motion, which is to approve the,
The bid.
The bidder.
The motion.
all those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
So you'll
Motion carried.
be
I
in
will
touch with me after you talk to
Yep.
Bill Bloss or something?
Yep.
Very good,
Call
thank you.
Paul. All right, thank you.
And not to put any pressure, but sooner the better, because we'd like to get this in before school starts.
Talk to him today?
So, you know, if you get back by the end of the day, that'd be perfect.
Well, look,
Pushing it.
Don't push it, Cliff.
it's not saying you can't order it.
Okay.
We approve
Yeah,
that.
it'll get paid for, one
We'll
way
get
or the
paid for
other.
it, just how we're gonna fund it.
I will order
Okay.
it today. Dan, you have the PO on
I think so.
that. Thank you.
I mean, $16,000, come on. Yeah. Thank you, Cliff. Okay, item 6, environmental planner, Kevin McGee, discuss and take possible action on a contract to install an agricultural well at Northern Heights open space property. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. The town has received a grant from the Connecticut Coastal River Conservation District for the installation of this well. This is the major component of the work, is the well driller installing the well. It's up our Northern Heights property, which is all the way up off of Crooked Hill Road at the Durham-Guilford line. And we have about 35 acres for grazing, where cattle are currently being grazed, and this is where the well is going to be situated for. So we have prices from 4 different vendors, going from $7,170 up to $8,459, and recommending Savinelli well drillers. I talked with Dennis Johnson, health director, and he's familiar with this company, seen the work, has no problems with them. Indicated, I guess they did the well for when they did Melissa Jones' well a year or two ago. They did the work for that also, so he's familiar with them. He's not familiar with RAG or Grella, which are two that I found on listings to get the pricing that's required. So looking for, they said Savinelli for the well drilling. He's also available to start right away because the project has to be completed by the mid-September. All basically invoices have to be into conservation district. So, and he's actually seen the location where the well's going.
Okay,
Do you have an amount, Kevin?
It's $7,170.
there's a letter that you should have got.
Yeah, it wasn't in my package.
No, there it is.
Right here it is. Can look through that.
It might have been in the email.
Oh,
All I had was this.
yeah. There was reference to it being in the package, but it wasn't.
Was it? Right, okay,
Apologize.
So it's 7,000,
7170.
I do remember approving the grant, yeah, so, okay, I would move that we approve 7LE well for $7,170. What was the amount? Okay.
7,170.
No, what was the amount of the grant?
The grant that we have is about around 20,000, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I don't have the full paperwork for the
Is
grant on
it
me.
for more?
Well, there's gonna be a
What-
pump house being also constructed on the property, electrician coming in to do his work, and some minor site work involved also.
Okay. Again, I'll go back to, I move that we approve 7LE well drilling in the amount of $7,170.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye, okay, thank you.
And you're still assuming that the 20,000 in the grant is
Okay.
enough to cover all of these other expenses?
Correct.
Okay, Kevin, thank you very much.
This price actually came below my proposed estimate that I had for that
Okay.
component of it.
Item 7, Town Engineer 7.1, consider and take possible action to contract with Tilcon under the state VIP bid 16 PSX 0209 for shimming. Morning, Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, shimming is the first process we go through with preparation for chip sealing up in North Guilford. It's really geared to kind of build up the gutters and cover any real distress in pavement that we have on the many roads that we're going to be chip sealing this year. Price was figured in when we put the budget together. We have more than enough money to cover it. We had $67,000 in the budget. This price is $63,250. Again, it's under the state bid price. It's the best price we can get. Almost get it put in place for what we would buy it for. So I would recommend the Board of Selectmen, and it was approved by the Public Works Commission the last meeting. So I recommend the Board of Selectmen approve this.
I would move we approve $63,242 under state bid 16 PSX 0209 for shimming.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, okay.
Can I ask a quick question? What's the timing? I'm gonna create a contract
Today.
You want
Tomorrow.
that? Tomorrow.
After Joe negotiates with the Board of Ed, you can work on this one.
Yeah. Anytime you want. Next item was the
7.2, discuss and take possible action to purchase 700 tons of treated road salt from Morton Salt under the Capital Region Council of Government bid.
right. We
We're not talking about those little salt checkers.
no. We actually had a very good price this year because of the mild winter last year, I guess. We had
Oh,
we
because
had
there's stuff left over.
stuff left
Oh,
over.
that's what I was gonna ask you.
The prices we had carried in the budget was 86.18.
That's 73.39.
Krog came in, their bids came in 73.39. Morton Salt is the low bidder. So we've used them in the past, they've been very responsive. So we're in good shape. I would recommend the Board of Selectmen approve that bid. They, back up a second, the Capital Region went out for bid for treated road salt, and the same bid, they also included sand. But I would just like to address at this point the salt, and that was for $73.39. I recommend the Board of Selectmen authorize the purchase of the 700 tons of treated salt at the $73.39 price.
And again, that's up to, because if we don't use it, we don't take it all.
Well, we're supposed to, but they've never put us into that situation
Okay.
where we have to
Did we take it all last year?
No.
No.
Which is why you
Yeah.
got an expense surplus.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's up to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or if we can actually get more, if.
Right, at
if-
that price, yeah.
When the snow
But the
flies.
price is not gonna change.
Change is not
Right.
gonna.
I'll move the question. I'll move the proposal.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Anything comes in less is a good thing.
Yep.
The low bid for the sand that the CROG got was from Lombardi Gravel and Excavation at $19.38 per cubic yard. But because we're outside of the Hartford region, we would have a $2 surcharge for trucking, which would bring the price up to $21.38, so we would elect not to go that way.
Okay.
We do have a price that was submitted by Seashore Construction. They have been our supplier for years. They would supply at our site sand for the price of $16.10 per cubic yard. So I would ask the Board of Selectmen to waive the bidding process, since CROG went through that process already, and award the contract to Seashore Construction for the quoted price of $16.10.
Is that the same as last year?
It's a little bit higher, but not appreciably.
Okay. I would move that we approve Seashore in the amount of $16.10.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
That was 7.37. Okay. 7.4, discuss and take possible action to contract with New England Asphalt Services for road chip sealing under the state bid 16 PS 4072.
This price is, again, is somewhat lower because of the, I guess, the price of oil this year. In the budget, we carried $1.75 a square foot. The bid actually came in with, even with the adjustment for, as a sliding scale based on escalation in the price of oil at any particular time, came in at $1.38 per square yard. What we're planning to do for edification of all who listen to the program, we will be chip sealing the east side, North Guilford, east side of Lake Quanapug. It's Lake Drive, all the roads off that, Rockland Road, Weatherly Trail, Hoopole Road, and one last section of Northwood Drive, which we will complete this year. I would recommend the Board of Selectmen award the contract to New England Asphalt Services for $168,866. Again, they've been the low bidder under the state contract, and they've done an excellent job for the last 3 or 4 years. Prior to that, there was a lot of talk about never doing chip sealing again. There was we haven't had any problems at all. People have been very.
Phone calls have decreased quite a lot.
And they do a great job, and they get prepped. We get in and out. It's very nice. And what I would intend to do is, using the reverse 911, let that area know that we're going to be doing this the week of August 14th. So we cut down the phone calls. People.
Just coordinate that with Karen, so she'll
Yes.
get that message out, okay?
Right, I will.
Well, we haven't approved it yet, but, okay.
Well, if you approve it, we will.
I did get harangued at a local retailer by one of our citizens yesterday, just out of the blue. Why don't you guys stop chip sealing?
I'll just let
Where
the
do they
road-
live?
Not up there. He's in a cul-de-sac, so the cul-de-sacs, don't.
We'll draw a
don't-
circle around his cul-de-sac. We won't ever do it again.
Cul-de-sacs are always a problem. I think.
They are.
They are a problem.
They are.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
move the question that we
Call
award the bid to New England Asphalt Services for a total of $168,866.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now, again, Jim, just to be clear, this is the volume you were doing before. You're not so there's actually going to be a savings over budget
Yes.
based on this.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's another reason we have surpluses, when people talk about budget versus actual. Okay. 7.5, consider and take possible action. Agreement with the Connecticut Water Company for completion of paving on Driftwood Lane. Want to explain that, Jim?
Yeah, previously, the Board of Selectmen has approved a project for milling and paving of Driftwood Lane. It was in the process of the bidding of the budget. When we were getting ready to plan the work out, Connecticut Water Company approached me and said, we'd like to take the opportunity to replace, we have a lot of problems with this main. It's about 1,000 foot of main on Driftwood Lane. We'd like to take the opportunity to replace it now before you do the repaving. Well, it made sense. So I held off, instead of doing it at the same time we did Podunk Road, we put it off, and I thought I would do it this fall. What transpired is as they replaced the main, put the new main in and replaced the old one, there was a lot more damage to the existing road than anticipated, because we had a lot of slumping off of the trench. They put one new pipe next to the old, and because of I guess it was probably kind of a sandy gravel, there was a lot of sloughing off of the pavement support into the new trench. And what happened is that the old pavement started cracking, so they would have had to go into much more costly patching procedures than they anticipated. So what I suggested is that in lieu of spending a lot of money on patch, and then with us having to wait for it to get all the settlement out and having to live with those scars that are in a new pavement, I suggested that they would probably be advised to reclaim that section of road, about 1,000 feet. That would, in essence, take and churn up the existing pavement, recompact it, and then put a new binder course of material for that 1,000 feet. It would be more expeditious, number one, and probably be cheaper in the long run if they agreed to that. They did. They provided an agreement where they would pay for that. It would allow us immediately to schedule that work at the same, and schedule the milling of the remainder of the work, and then once the new binder is installed at their cost, we would pave over the whole project. Their portion of the cost is about $64,000. It's spelled out in the $64,442. That way, the job is done. We no longer have to, the people have to put up with the inconvenience of having the road work done, and then they'd have to wait for the trenches to settle. And I thought this would be the best solution for all. So they agreed. They've given me a letter, which I signed, but with the understanding that it would need a Board of Selectmen approval.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Oh, well, I try to clarify. So, I mean, if it's not, I still have the check. If you don't want, I'll return it today. But I think it's the way to go. I think it really is dictated by our concern for our convenience for our citizens up there. So I would recommend the Board of Selectmen approve this.
I think it's a creative solution, and I would recommend that we approve the agreement with the water company and accept the money and proceed as you've outlined.
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, James.
Can I hold Jim for just 1 second?
If you can, yeah.
One of the, I'm looking at the Public Works report.
Yes.
And I see continue road sweeping.
Right.
There was an incident in my area where literally the drains were clogged. I called I texted Tom Fillion on a Sunday and said that the roads they're clogged. Could you look into this? And he texted me back. He said, do you need me to do it now? This is on a Sunday. I said, tomorrow's fine, but the crowd, one of the crews was up there Monday. They cleaned it out. They did a great job. The only thing I would suggest is you might want to review them, because we've had a couple of heavy storms and some of those drains are getting clogged again. So you might need to do that again, unfortunately.
No, that's reality of taking care of roads. You never
That's right.
know. We certainly will.
But pass on to Mr. Fillion.
You want a motion that we cut off his phone service on
You better cut his off too, then.
I just
No, I appreciate it. Joe knows that I think Tom Fillion is probably the greatest gift we've had in employment for a long, long time. He's terrific. So.
I concur.
I had no intention of him coming down Sunday. While I saw it, I would forget. At my age, I forget things, so
well,
I got it to him right
I won't
away.
even talk about that.
I would like to commend the Public Works for the great job you've done on Podunk Road. It really looks terrific.
Thank you.
Best
And
it's
that's-
ever. Really good.
Okay.
And that, it's gratifying. Thank you for saying that. But a lot of people have said that, and we're really proud of it when the guys work that hard.
Yep.
It comes out really
Good job.
Thank you. I'll tell Tom Fillion and the guys.
Good.
Well, I also like to thank the residents for their patience on the construction, putting up with the
And they have been
construction.
very good about
Yeah.
that,
So,
It all works out.
good. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Right.
Turn it into a love fest. Okay.
Well, we don't want to go that far.
I'll get the traffic off in front of
Number 8, Fire Chief Charles Hershaft. Hey, morning, Chief.
Good morning.
Just so you know, we added this,
For common sense?
common sense, we added it to 8.4, so we'll take it at the end, okay?
Okay.
8.1, consider to take possible action to purchase service.
Right, you
office
should have
statement.
2 purchase orders for that, is that correct? Advanced office system for the servers themselves?
No.
They don't have it, but
Again, that's another thing that,
it wasn't put into the packet, and I
Yeah.
apologize for that, but
Okay.
why don't you tell us about it?
Okay, we got, the state contract on that is advanced office system in East in Branford and East Main Street.
Yeah,
And the two servers are $7,178 each, for
Right.
a total of $14,356. So that's off a state contract, and the state contract number is part of the requisition. And then the board should have received,
you guys have the email on it, don't you?
Take that one at a time.
sure,
I would move that we approve the purchase of servers off the state contract in the amount of $14,356.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay.
okay, now ProVantage, which is a company that we buy operating systems from, the board did receive 3 quotes for that. ProVantage is a low quote for $8,536.64. I didn't see that anywhere on the agenda, but it's important that we get this done.
Is that the
And-
phone system?
No.
I didn't see that at all, chief.
Yeah, there should be a requisition that came in to the office. ProVantage, it was for a bunch of operating systems, Cisco, and it's all IT stuff.
If you can locate that, we can add it later, okay? Well, why don't you keep going to the next?
Okay, well, basically, this is kind of time sensitive, and I may
Okay.
have to, I know you have a freeze on capital. but,
Except for emergency services,
all
I
right.
said. okay.
All right, because if we don't get this before the end of July, there'll be a $3,500 increase.
So this is related to the
Right,
servers, this is
right,
updating
right,
the server,
right.
okay. Do
Okay.
you have an amount?
$8,536.64.
Was this budgeted, or is
Yes,
this emergency because
Yeah.
that server's
Capital.
died?
No,
Okay.
no, it's budget.
I would move, well, let's see if Pam
She's
comes
coming
up
back with that. We
Yeah.
gotta add it to the agenda anyway, so.
Okay, we'll add it to the,
Okay.
so that'll be 8.5. Move on to the phone system. for
Okay, the
now.
phone system, Frontier Communications installed all the phone systems in the town, in this building, police headquarters, Public Works, and Park and Rec. So, and they've always been a low quote, so I just figure I'll ask the board to waive the quote process and go and award it for the fire headquarters in the amount of $10,018.40.
Oh, 1840, right?
Right.
I would move the phone system from Frontier for the amount of 10,000 and change.
It's, oh, 1840.
Oh, 1840, sorry. Okay.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Okay, and the final one is the meter, which is again in the capital money.
Right.
The only vendor for the meter, which the town of Guilford is part of the consortium, which I believe Pam's aware of, is a contract number. This meter, I believe, is made in Sweden. It's replacing one that is 10 years old. It's outdated. It's costing us like $1,200 a year to keep it maintained. It has a radioactive isotope in it. We have to register it every year, so that's going to go away. So this meter is for $15,595.
And it's a meter on what?
It's if for measuring hazardous materials and sarin gas and a lot.
Okay. So you carry it on the rescue vehicle? And
Yeah.
pull it out when you need it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the
That's
vendor-
in here, 15,595.
and
Right.
the vendor name
It's
is?
Safeware out of Maryland.
Safe,
They're the sole source dealer for this
Safeware.
particular
okay. Okay,
equipment.
I would move that we approve the meter for Safeware in the amount of $15,595.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
What do you do with the nuclear waste?
I'm gonna give it back to the state. Let them deal with it.
All right, let's go to 8.4, and then we'll add this other one here. 8.4 was for Common Sense. There's a total of $24,000, and they're for medical supplies.
That's a blanket purchase order
Yes.
for our medical supplies.
And
It's all on state contract.
State contract
Right.
13, Sally, PSX 0088.
Right.
And it's two, actually, it's made up of two. And there's another contract, 14, PSX 0287. The first one was for 19,000. The second one was for 5,000. That's where you get the 24,000 for.
So they're in Sabre, so you just go draw as you need it?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Or do they deliver, or?
Oh, they deliver to
They
us,
deliver,
yeah, they deliver to us. Yeah, they're a very good company. They carry all the narcotics that we need, and if we need it in a hurry, we get it in a hurry.
Chief, can I ask you why they're broken up between 5,000 and 19?
And that's why the girl sent it to me,
Okay.
but we're gonna put it all in one PO.
Okay, but there's two different state contract numbers. That's-
One's for the drugs and one's for the actual medical supplies.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you remember which is which?
I don't off the top of my head, I
All
can
right.
find out.
We can get that later. Then.
Okay.
All right. Does somebody want to make a motion on this?
I'll move the question as proposed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, carried. Okay, now we got to add to the agenda on 8.5,
So moved.
Provantage for
85, 36.
85, 36, 64. I'm just remember, what's this for now? This is for,
This is for the,
Operating systems.
the systems and supplies,
There's a whole list of items there on the
stuff
actual
that's
quotation.
related.
it's a bunch of items that are up there, yeah.
Right.
that's what's related, yeah, the servers don't work without that
Operating,
stuff.
just the operating systems, from the Sally. So,
I would move the
To add it?
Provantage for 80, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would move that we add it.
okay.
Second.
Second, okay. Then we need a motion to
I would
approve
move
for
that we-
Cisco operating systems.
I would move that we approve it for 85, 36, 64.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's 8.5, we've added and approved. Okay,
Is that-
that's it.
Okay, thank
you,
you.
Chief.
Thank you.
Number 9, facilities manager Steve Nightoff, discuss and take possible action to purchase 2017 Chevy van off the state contract. 10 PSX 0239. Before we begin, this is under the 2017 budget.
Yes,
Okay, so
Yes.
we're
Yep,
not under
we have
any
the money, yes.
freeze or something, okay?
yes. I had two options, a Ford or a Chevy. I've got a Chevy on a parking lot off the old price, so it's gonna go up next week. So I've got somebody retaining me one if we get this approved. The Ford was 31,000. I can get the Chevy for 25,360. That's with a ladder rack on and the door in the back and all the cargo containers in it. So I was looking to get the Chevy, as long as I can get approval quick enough to hold this, we'll say $5,000.
Okay. We trading in the old one?
No,
What are we doing with that?
no, I was gonna try to hold on to that for now until it's totally shot, and then just get rid of it.
Okay. Why do we need it?
Well, for the past year and a half to keep it going, we put new tires on it, new shocks, and I hate to just get rid of it at this point until it's totally dead.
So Ralph thinks it's worth keeping?
I mean, I'm looking to get another 6 months, maybe a year out of it. And then once it's done, it's gonna be gotten rid of.
Fair?
Since it is there, you know, Kevin's looking for something larger that his people can take stuff out to projects, and so if that's hanging around,
Oh, no,
he might get
yes.
some use out of
Okay.
it as well.
Okay.
so.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Just seems like a waste to get rid of it at this point.
Okay, and what was your budget on this one?
31,000,
Okay,
so I'm actually saving almost $5,000.
good.
You got that?
I got it.
Mary J's surplus just went up $5,000.
Write them all down.
No, actually, it reduced 25,000.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, you had, whatever.
okay. We need a motion?
I move that we approve the budget, the purchase of the Chevy van for $25,360.
Second.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, item 10, Health Director Dennis Johnson, consider and take possible action on a request of West River Village Condominium Association to withdraw $10,000 from the sewage maintenance escrow fund for repair of septic system. Good morning.
Good morning. The West River Village, just refresh your memory where that's located. It's across from Adams Middle School. It's one of the first condominiums built in Guilford back in the 1970s. They have 6 septic systems there, one large one which was replaced about 20 years ago, then they have some smaller ones. And their smaller system that serves a 4 condo unit has failed, and they have to repair it. This condominium septic system is regulated by the Connecticut DEP because the design flow for the community is more than 7,000 gallons per day. So they have an escrow fund held at Guilford Savings Bank for the very purpose of helping repair septic systems. So the escrow fund is assigned to the Board of Selectmen for the express purpose of repairing septic systems when they do fail. And they're requesting that they withdraw $10,000 from the escrow fund to help pay for the septic repair.
Okay.
And they have the balance of the 25?
They'll have a balance then of about $1,000 left over, so.
No, understood, but the total
But-
cost is 35.
Right.
So they have the other 25 to do
Yep.
the project.
Yeah.
So what happens,
They have they
what
usually
happens
raise,
afterwards?
they usually have a special assessment to the condo owners to raise the money to pay off the bill. And then they replenish this fund over a period of 3 years. They deposit money to build the fund back up again.
And that's through special assessment?
Yep.
Okay.
And do we have any way of monitoring that, or is it, do you
Yeah.
know that they've?
I think as part of the motion, you'd consider having them replenish the fund within 3 years. And then we do monitor that through our bonding process to make certain that they do build it back up. And they've been pretty diligent, most condos have been diligent in doing that, because they know it's really emergency money for repairs.
So, how does this work? Does the 10,000 ever get
Yep.
resupplied or
Yep,
get
they
built
will,
up?
what they will do is, if we release the money to them for the septic repair, then on a monthly basis, the association will add money back into the savings account to replenish the amount that they withdrew from their bond.
Okay.
So they will build that back up. And to pay for the other remaining $25,000, the association will have a special assessment to the property owner association in the condo to raise the extra money to complete the repair. So they'll be getting money from 2 sources, from the bond and then also through special assessments to the property owners in the association.
So everybody in the association gets assessed,
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
not just the 4 units?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And so, I've never thought about this, but every condominium in the town has some sort of escrow arrangement that you monitor to
Right.
take care of emergency situations, although I guess 10,000 wasn't enough to take care of this, so.
No, well, see, those escrow funds were set up in 1970. The cost for doing construction now has gone up considerably since
Okay.
Oh, I
then.
bet.
So it was a number that worked in 70, but
Yeah.
there's no basis for escalation for the escrow.
No, there isn't. I mean, some condo associations have pretty hefty escrow funds. The larger ones, like, River Colony, where there are really large septic systems. But oftentimes, they don't have enough money in their escrow to pay for a very, monumental cost for a septic repair. So they do have the ability to do the special assessments. But I'm going to encourage this condo association probably to add more money, build that fund up even greater than the $11,000 to help in the future. Fortunately, they haven't had failures in this condo very often. I think I only know of one in the past 20 years. They have really good sandy soil over there. Systems work for a long time, but they should consider adding more money to the escrow fund.
Okay. All right, we need a vote here.
I would move that we accommodate the West River Village Condominium Association by releasing 10,000 with an agreement that they replace it within 3 years in order to facilitate septic repair.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
I would just, maybe, and I don't know how many more condominium projects would ever come into the town, but I think it raises an interesting question that these agreements might have a cost of living or some sort of escalation. I mean, if this had been escalated, they'd have the 35,000 or some number in there that was more appropriate. I mean, I understand that 10,000 in 1970 probably would have done this job
Right.
easily. So.
Does it earn any income?
Probably
Incoming
not much.
condos?
No.
Savings account, probably not much.
Well, the savings right now won't earn anything.
Yeah,
but
well, it's not-
Sometimes they put them in CDs, which don't yield a lot more than the savings, but the problem is trying to get them
Right.
to increase in
Yeah.
cost of living. They can't keep up.
No,
with it, so-
I just, it might be a note to P and Z that as they're approved, because that's where the agreement would be made, correct?
Right.
Right.
So P and Z ought to just keep in mind, maybe we can pass on a quick memo to them.
Yeah, because it's,
That as they're doing this, there ought to be an escalator.
You're right.
because.
Monitoring that, you know,
Yeah,
it would
that-
be a
that's
challenge,
problem. That's a
It's
problem,
gotta
too,
be somewhat of a, I guess, a challenge to the condo owners too, all of a sudden hit with these assessments.
but- Right.
yeah, I think in this case, the contractor is working over a payoff period over time.
Yeah, okay.
Over years,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
so,
Okay, thank
All
you.
right,
all right.
thanks, Dennis.
All right, correspondence, still got a ways to go here on the agenda. Public Works Department and monthly building officials report. Okay, it's interesting that the annual building permits, we had 8 less new building permits this year than last year. Okay, then I do have, I have this letter, which I don't know if you guys got copies of, but I'll give you a copy. Pass it on. That was an ongoing thing, but, okay. Right, any other correspondence from anybody? No?
No.
Okay, new business,
Joe, the only thing is you and the Board of Ed and our state reps wrote a letter concerning the issue of the defacement.
Quad Track, we talking about?
No, the defacement of
Oh,
property.
the graffiti.
Which
Yeah,
maybe you can bring to the next meeting and read on camera.
Okay.
I think it's appropriate for,
Yeah, I don't have it with me, but.
I understand.
Okay.
Bring it to the next meeting and read it. I think it's appropriate for
Okay. I will.
everybody to understand that the
Okay.
town boards and officials have come out strongly against
Yeah.
that kind of activity.
Thank you, I'm gonna bring it up. Public forum, I don't see anybody here, we'll move on. Item 16, discuss and take possible action on an agreement between the town of Guilford and the Teamsters, Chauffeurs, Warehousemen, and Helpers, local number 443, for the time period of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2020, and authorize first selectman to sign a final agreement. An executive session actually will be required. So this is our contract with our public works maintainers and the town of Guilford. Public Works is represented by the Teamsters Union. So I am going to invite our HR director and our finance director. So I'll call for a vote for an executive session, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, well, Mike, we will come back for a vote, okay? Thank you. Okay, need a motion here to get out of executive session?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have one more piece of business.
I would move that we authorize the first selectman to complete and sign the labor agreement with the Teamsters Union, local number 43, as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other business, I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 9:55. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for rearranging your schedules so we can meet today.
If we wouldn't vote to adjourn,